Hi everyone, I'm Krika and this is Art Rendezvous. Welcome to our extra special episode. Today we are celebrating Halloween and Day of the Dead. Our first guest tonight is Patricia Castillo and Paul Jolett, who are going to talk to us about the significance of art in the celebration of Day of the Dead. And then we have Saul Ravencraft, who's going to teach us a magical art. And after that, we'll head over to Artist Studios for some trick and treat. So grab those candy bags and extra large drinks and relax with us as I invite Patricia and Paul to the show. Hi Paul.
Hi, Krika.
Hi, Krika.
Welcome to Art Rendezvous.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So you are a clay sculptor and you make folk art. Would you describe your style a little bit?
For our sculptures that we make are a tradition that is being passed through 5 generations in my family, and they are handmade clay sculptures, and we use acrylics to decorate them. And I want to talk to you about some of the artworks that we make. Every artwork has a meaning from our culture and innovation between old culture and the new lifestyle. So this skull with monarch butterflies, it's a representation of what my ancestors, the Aztecs, believe. It was a myth or legend that they say that when a person passed away, our souls become monarch butterflies and they fly away to the new world and they return to visit us in the day for Dia de Muertos or Day of the Dead in a butterfly form to visit their loved ones and to let them know everything is okay where they are. And so this sculpture was created by my parents. My parents, they want to show a circle of life and death, and they were making clay sculptures of a skull with monarch butterflies and caterpillars.
And Paul, how long have you been doing this?
Well, only the 22 years that Patty and I have been married. So shortly after we got married, uh, Patty hadn't been outside of her family, and so we moved back. We moved back to Mexico, and while I was there, I was helping with the family, helping them with the artwork. I tried doing the painting. I could do the basic colors, but I cannot do the designs. I just don't have it. My designs either grow or shrink or all kinds of things. So they put me back in the back in what they call the taller, where we make the clay sculptures. And I was just helping make little flowers or wheels or little things that would attach, little balls, triangles, whatever, to adorn other pieces. Um, Little by little, they gave me more and more larger and more complicated things to do. And so one day, her father walks in. He says, he clears off one of the tables and says, "This is your table. This is where you're going to make your art. Come here." And he showed me how to lay out big pieces and showed me how to invent pieces. And at that point, I started my apprenticeship with her father and her brothers and sisters, and the whole family helped bring me along so that I could help Patty continue, no matter where we were or what we were doing, continue with these traditions and this legacy.
So when you started working on this, did you just try to follow the same traditional style, or you bring in your perspective to the sculptures?
Well, so yeah, that I mean that's exactly how it got started. Is I was just doing exactly what I was told to do. So they would give me a model and I would copy it, and they would give me a model and I would copy it, and I would just do whatever. The only difference was, no matter how hard I tried, I didn't make it look exactly the same. So I have my own aesthetic. I have a way I want things to look, and so while I make the same I use the same language. I don't copy exactly their style. So if you've seen the family's work, you're going to see, okay, he's making this particular piece, but I can tell this is Paul's piece. Yeah, well, so this is something that we invented, though. Mm-hmm. This is not a copy. But so this is a flaming heart, right? So and it's flying with wings. It's a very popular kind of motif all over Mexico. But so I took what they taught me, and then I sort of went with it, went with my own style. Absolutely.
And I see you have this whole setup behind you. What is that?
But some of the stuff we have are like this danzante. They are folkloric dances, traditional folkloric dances in different states of Mexico. This is representing the the dance of the sombreron, they call it. And so for Dia de Muertos, they adorn or decorate their hats with marigolds all the way around their heads to dance into that traditional folk art dance. Also, we have Olla Ecológica, or it's an ecological pad that was made to teach children some of the animals that they can't see any longer. In my home town, Izúcar de Matamoros in Puebla, Mexico, you can't see any longer frogs because people have been covering dirt with the cement, houses and streets. So frogs, you can't see them in the town. Maybe if you go outside, like countryside of the hills, you can hear them. But so he created this to teach children to be nice to little bugs and to remember that there is a union between every creature and we all need to respect each other.
So yesterday we built this ofrenda to commemorate and remember her father, her grandmother. My grandparents are also up there, right? Up there on the top. So we built this last night, yesterday and last night, and we do every year around the. Sometimes it's today, and sometimes it would be yesterday, and then this will stay up until around the 3rd or 4th.
Until November 3rd.
November 3rd, yeah.
So this is representing an ofrenda. And ofrendas in Mexico, they are built, like Paul was saying, October 27th through November 2nd. And ofrendas are in memory to our loved ones that passed away. And we usually start with a picture of a person or people that you are honoring, and you are welcoming them to come back home. And we put items that represent them or things that they like: food, drinks, candles. We make a pathway of marigolds. You can't see it, but it goes all the way to the outside.
Okay.
And that's the...
It's the same as that's here bordering, I think you can see bordering the table. So that goes all the way down onto the carpet and out the front door. And out in the front, by the front of the house, there's a cross made of marigolds as the invitation, supposedly the aroma attracts them, and that guides them to their ofrenda.
Yes. And because
That's
we are honoring my father, he is the one that, through his family generations, this kind of work, the folk art, was introduced to us, his children, and now our spouses.
And so some interesting things down here you can't see. There's incense burning, right? We have copal on in well, it's not really burning as well, but we have copal in what do you call that? San Mario, right? So we have it burning, was burning, it's gone out. You have to take. You have
So
to watch
the
it.
incense is it's also like the marigolds. It's
yeah.
to guide their pathway to come here to the altar, so they can enjoy the things we have put for them.
And you have salt in a little molcajete. What is the salt for?
We have salt because salt represents um, purification and helps them to purify
Purify themselves.
purify themselves, their souls, so they can come and then return to where they are. And
That is beautiful. I mean, I never knew all this about why it was celebrated and what was the purpose of it. And I guess it's beautiful to invite them as to get their blessings again in our lives.
yeah,
Uh, so, Paul, from your perspective as an outsider to this tradition, do you, do you feel this is still relevant and in this time and age? What's
Well,
your thought on
so
that?
it seems like it's become more relevant. So when I first married Patty, I just thought this was a very interesting way to celebrate Halloween. That's how I saw it.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, I grew up in San Antonio some, and you know, high school and college. So I saw it happening at the cemeteries here, and I saw not so much the commercialization of it like it is today, but it was around. I went to Adelaide Lake University, and it was a huge population of folks there that celebrated the Dia de los Muertos, and they would build altars or ofrendas, and it was a curiosity for me. Well, 20 years later, I totally can appreciate it and understand it. I'm seeing it more and more all over the place. Commercialized, yes, but also people wanting. We had so many requests this season for people wanting to, for the first time, explore how it can be meaningful for them. They know something is there, and I'm telling you, something is here. Being from an outsider and seeing this and understanding this, um, not having grown up with it, it's very relevant. It's very important. It's a way to bring yourself and back to maybe a moment that was you've lost someone, but at the same time, it's still part of your life. They're still part of your life. They're gone physically, but they aren't gone. And this is when this happens, when we build this, we put on some music and we drink drinks and talk about them. So the stories the lives they live become the stories we tell each other and cherish. And so very relevant, maybe more so than ever. And this season seemed to be more so, given how we've all been so closed in on ourselves. Yeah.
And I've also seen some big pieces that you have, like, with circles and a lot of stuff on it. What are those?
yeah.
What pieces were you talking about?
I think it's like a tree or you have a lot of it's one of the pictures that I've seen of your artwork. The I think it's tree of, you call it tree of life, or
Which
um,
which picture did you
the
send
big
them?
pieces that you make.
Yeah, they're
You mean the pictures
pictures
behind
like
us?
Yes, yes.
yeah. So this kind of trees, so it's like 27 by 25 inches, and these trees of life They are usually in museums. They are collected in museums around the world. And we don't have any here because we sold the one that was made with lots of fireflies last year. And we haven't made another one. But the trees of life, it's an old story from my hometown in Puebla that when a person was going to when a couple that were going to get married, their elders were given to the couple a tree of life made with, well, a natural tree of life.
Mm-hmm.
And after 7 years of marriage, this branch was returned to the elders in a big ceremony. They burned the branch, and as a reward for their marriage that they accomplished in 7 years, and the children they have, and the animals, or whatever happened in their lives, it was given to them a tree of life that was made with clay and painted with acrylic colors
Yeah, so it would
or natural colors also.
commemorate the accomplishments of the at that 7 year point. So the first time when they got the story that I've heard is when they got the carving made of wood, it would have the expectations, what kind of um, career he was supposed to have, how many children they were supposed to have, what kind of life, the expectations of them. And then that was burned in the ceremony, and the commemoration is what they've actually accomplished. Are they raising sheep? Are they metal workers? Do they have, how many children do they have? That kind of thing. And so their life would be at that moment memorialized in the tree of life. So those banners are various rewards or competitions that the family entered into, and so they've just been put into a banner form for us to be able to display our, when we go to shows or at the house. We have them up here too.
So the tree of life is specific to the family or the couple, and they you make it for the family. It's not one tree for anyone can buy. You make it specifically for people.
Well, there's both ways, right? So if you've got no one in mind, if you're just trying to tell a story, the family, her family's been telling stories on trees of life. So they build a structure that is a candelabra. They call it a tree of life, and then they put a story on there. However, sometimes people ask for
A family tree.
A family tree.
So now we have different kinds of trees that some of them they are Adam and Eve. We have like nativities, like this kind of art sculpture. So we have different types of folkloric dances in Mexico, and they represent different states of the country, Mexico, and they are adorned in this tree of life. But so our trees of life now they vary into what we want to show from our culture. And like Paul, he was saying, some trees of life they are made for a specific family. So their own family's tree of life. It goes from the grandparents to their children and what they have accomplished in their lives.
And others are stories people want to tell. We just did one for a memorial for a little boy who had an accident and passed away. And so they gave us some ideas about his favorite animals. We had a picture of him that we put on a little disc that could be removed if need be. And he loved butterflies and birds and giraffe, deer. He had a little dog. So we put all of these things together and used the colors that he liked He had favorite colors, so we used his color scheme, and we built this little memorial for them. So now they'll always have that.
We had some of the pictures up, and those look really intricate and really beautiful. Good way, really nice way to commemorate someone's memories. Um, and what are the other art pieces that you work on? Like other functional art that you create?
There is one, usually the ones that they have like a base. Like, I don't know if you can see this piece over there.
Mm-hmm.
They're called trees of life. This is not a tree of life. This is just a dancer. But there is one specific that I remember that you can describe to Brickman about the cocina patty.
Yeah. So in the process, when I was learning my craft from the family, uh, Marta, her mother, came in, my mother-in-law, and said, "Look, I want to make a typical a tree of life that is a typical kitchen from Puebla, because Puebla has a specific kind of look to the old kitchens, right? With the old kind of brasero and everything that's inside, and the tile and everything, and all of the chilies and the
And
garlic
pottery.
and everything.
Kind of
Yeah, and
pottery.
little pottery pieces like this that
Oh,
that we make.
Represent that
Yeah,
stage.
that represent that's the kind of things you would find in Puebla. So she and I came up with some theme ideas. I made a couple of prototypes, and now to this day they make and sell something called Cocina Pati, and it's an invention of between a collaboration between Marta and myself to come up with this new this new piece. We don't have any here
And then
right now.
you make one that was the life in the ocean.
Right. So they had won an award for a very very large piece with the the marine life. We call it Vida Marina, right? But it was ginormous, and it was just totally out of anyone's capacity, normal capacity to afford it. And her mother wanted a piece that would represent marine life, Vida Marina, and so she and I came up with the idea, and then I made a piece, and made about 5 or 6 of them. My parents have one. They bought the very first one. It was about that big, and with all of the sea life that I could possibly imagine, I used pictures, and yeah, so it was everything from what's above the ocean all the way to the bottom of the ocean.
Seashells,
Coral, yeah,
penguins.
we had coral, and we had clams with, and we had oysters with pearls, and we had
Birds.
seagulls, we had eels, algae,
Shark on
a
the
shark,
bottom.
how fascinating.
all kinds of anything I could think of to put in the sea life, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun to make.
Ah, that does sound a lot of fun. And you also have a lot of pieces displayed in museums around the world. Would you talk a little bit about those?
So I have a list here because we can never remember, right? Some of these places are hard to pronounce for either of us. So some of the collections, some of the pieces that are in museums or in private collections is a tree of life, Vida Marina, Vida Muerta. Sorry, it's a permanent collection in some place called Konshaus in Munich, Germany. It's a museum. Tree of life, trajes típicos and ofrendas in London Museum. There's a Tree of Life, Árbol de Vida, and China Poblana in Vienna, Austria. There's a Tree of Life, trajes típicos, residence of the King Juan Carlos in Spain. I don't know what that means exactly.
His castle.
Oh, in his castle. Okay, so in his residence, in his
In the
castle, he has that piece. Nacimiento is in the collection of the British Museum. Let's see. Her grandparents have um,
Tree of Life
a tree of life in the Frida Kahlo museum, the Casa Azul
in
in
Mexico
Mexico.
City.
Let's see, Tree of Life honoring Frida Kahlo in the Art Museum in South Texas in Corpus Christi. They have one in their collection,
Oh,
and you can see it anytime the museum is open. You can ask for it, and they'll tell you where it is. They move it around. So the Tyler Museum, there's of arts. So there's a Tyler Museum of Arts, Mexican folk art collection. There's a piece that Patty painted. It's a wooden.
they're wooden
It's a
cars.
wooden car. Yeah, it's a wooden,
Yeah.
like a Model T kind of thing that she
Mhm.
painted.
And
There's a Tree of Life, Grandes
Maestros
Maestros del Arte Popular in Mexico, uh, Fomento
Fomento
Cultural
Banamex.
Manamex. So in Mexico City, Tree of Life, Mexican Fine Arts Museum in Chicago, Illinois. There's a large collection of trees of life in the museum in Amparo in Puebla. They have generations back. So when I went to visit the Amparo, they were redoing a lot of the spaces. So they had all the Tree of Life. So instead of having spread out, they had them all in one room. And there were like 5 generations of the family's Trees of Life in that room, from the very beginning to all the way up to
It's one of the largest collections from artworks in that museum in Puebla, Mexico.
Yeah, in the Amparo in Puebla. So there's a Tree of Life in the Fowler Museum at UCLA in Los Angeles, California. There's a Tree of Life, the expression of culture and imagination of children's point of view. We did this as a collaborative effort at an elementary school with elementary kids, 250 children. What we did was we built the Tree of Life based on some of the cultural artifacts of that area, and then we had the children make whatever they wanted in clay. It was an art class, so all these children made pieces and then later painted them, and we attached all of these pieces, over 300 pieces, to this Tree of Life that they had, I think still have there at the elementary. So it's something we've done. A couple of communities we've done this, where we go into a community and we say, everyone that's participant can make what they want, and we will make a tree based on some community artifacts or something that's going on in the community, and we take their work and put it onto our work. It really works out really well.
So one of those is in New Mexico at the Western University.
Yeah, it's the Western University of New Mexico.
In
I think
Silver City.
In Silver City, we did one where we had some folks. They had in Silver City in New Mexico. They have a 8-day clay festival, and so over 8 days, people take classes, learn how to throw clay, do all kinds of interesting things. So during this festival, we made a piece, brought it to the community, and the community then made pieces that we had fired, and then they painted them. So they made them in one class, we fired them, and then they painted them near the end of the program, and we presented that all to the university there, and which is still in their collection there. So it was another one of those community pieces.
And the other fun Tree of Life we made with the community in Corpus Christi. There were children that participate to make this Tree of Life. It's called Tree of Life of Future Generations. And so we did the same. We built the big, large tree, and the children participate making the small clay figures. Later, we returned to Corpus Christi to paint together their pieces and then attach them. And these Tree of Life is in the Children
The
Museum
Children's
in
Museum,
Corpus
which is
Christi. Right.
across the compound from the actual South Texas Museum of Art, and of course that's where near where they have the the carrier or the destroyer there, the what do
Yeah.
you call it? You know what I'm talking about? They have the aquarium there, and they have the the I
But
don't know
I
what you
can
call it, the big ship.
I can see why you need to note it down. It's a long list.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't possibly remember all of that.
That is crazy. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see all those pieces displayed in the museum, and I feel so happy and honored to be able to have this conversation and learn about your tradition and the art behind it. So thank you so
Okay.
much for being on the show.
Well,
Thank
thank
you
you for
so much
having
for
us.
having
Thank
me.
you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
And now it's time to invite our second guest, Saul Ravencraft, who's going to teach us some magic.
Normally I'm behind the scenes on this stuff. It's kind of unusual for me to step out front. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. It's well, this is my season, Halloween. I love Halloween. How about you?
I love Halloween too. You can tell I'm all ready for it.
Yes, yes. I like your witchiness there. Uh,
So, Sal, welcome to Art Rendezvous. Would you talk a little bit about yourself? We would love to learn a little bit more about you.
Sure. So, my name is Saul Ravencraft, and I got I explored the paranormal and the strange and the weird. I enjoyed that sort of thing, but when I really got into the paranormal, I got into it to prove that it wasn't true, and ended up going way down the rabbit hole. So careful what you wish for.
Always.
And I went from a very skeptical perspective to being, I guess you'd say, a practitioner. And for me, what is interesting is to take some of these ideas like the tarot and ritual magic and that sort of thing and to explore it. Because even whether or not you're someone whose philosophy of life allows for the idea that casting a spell, casting a ritual can actually have an effect. There's a lot of symbolism in there, and there's a lot of stuff that I think gets into your head. And if you are someone that believes in the power of positive thinking, the belief in affirmations, then some of these things that we think of as magic rituals can help reinforce that in a way that helps bring it about. And of course, if you're someone that believes further, then you're able to add a little extra mojo into that. And that's really what it is that I'm hoping to do tonight, is to teach you how to do a piece of ritual magic that is also a work of art.
Oh, interesting.
Um,
I could never put those two together, like the magic and the art working together.
Well, it's called a sigil. There's something related to it called a pantacle, and basically it is a symbol. They can be very complex and precise. They can be a little bit more abstract. They can even be whimsical. And the old systems that were done by, say, Dr. John Dee, who was an advisor to Queen Elizabeth, or Aleister Crowley, the wickedest man in the world, although I don't think he was quite so. We've got other candidates for that. But it is essentially a drawing which is done to imbue this drawing with intention. In some cases, one of the ones that you saw was the symbolic name of a demon. Another one that you saw was a sigil for protection against demons. So they go in all kinds of different directions. And I thought what we would do tonight is to use a technique that is fairly modern. It comes from an area that I deal with called chaos magic. And chaos magic is that you let go of some of the rigid doctrines, some of the rigid philosophies, and you trust yourself a little bit. You borrow from lore, you borrow from other things, you add your imagination, because what is magic other than taking something that you imagine and bringing it into reality, right? So this doesn't require any particular philosophy, any particular knowledge. It is something that anyone can do. And we're going to go through it together. So basically, the way you begin is you start with the intention. Intention is important. If you're going to make something happen, you got to know what it is that you want to make happen, right? So the intention is very important. And there are gotchas in that. You got to think this intention through, because your wishes have consequences. If you're going to make something happen, there may be a price to pay. Now that's the way it is in the horror movies, right? You make a wish, somebody has to die. But that's not really the way it is. But there are consequences of your wishes, and you have to include the things that are important to you, and you have to let go of the things that are not absolutely necessary.
So make your wish carefully.
Make your wish carefully, and make your wish simply. I think the simplest wishes are the best ones. For example, one of the ways that people sabotage themselves when they make a wish is they will include unnecessary elements, which now become part of the wish. For example, let's say that you make a wish, I want to always have money to pay my bills. Well, what did you include in that wish? You included bills. Which means that now you always need bills that you need money for to pay. Well, maybe that's not exactly what you want. I wouldn't mind having a life without bills.
So I asked for money, but I also asked for bills. I should
Right.
have.
So maybe you ask for money. Okay, well, that could be good. You got to be careful with that, because maybe that means Aunt Sally now dies and leaves you a big inheritance. So you lose Aunt Sally. Okay, that goes back to the horror movie thing, right? But is money really what you want? Do you really want to sit in your room by yourself counting your gold? Or do you want the things that money will bring you? Could you be satisfied spending your life surrounded by art and artists and travel, and you never hold another dollar bill for as long as you live?
That's a good wish.
I think I could work that out. Right? I don't need to hold the money and smell the money or anything like that to be happy. I want the money as a tool for me. So my wish would really be about what I want the money to bring me, however it will come. If it comes through gifts or surprises or anything like that, that's good. I don't have to pay for it in order to be satisfied. So I tried to think of what would be a good wish for us today, and I tried to make it something that was going to be for the greater good for everybody, but also something that would be that didn't have gotchas, that was fairly open-ended, but for the greater good of all. And I know that I mean, you and I have had conversations about how it's nice to interact over video, but wouldn't it be nice to get in person, be doing art shows, and giving hugs and all those human things that we don't get to do through these little screens. I think everybody is feeling that right now. Most of the things that we're missing right now are because we have to be physically distant. Notice I didn't say socially distant. I'm changing my language because words mean things. It's the same as casting a spell. Social distancing means isolation and loneliness. Physical distancing means being apart. Right? We can still be socially connected, even though we're doing it the hard way through writing notes to each other and looking at pictures. Right? So physical distancing. And I'm done with physical distancing personally. I'm ready. I'm ready for it to be over. So with that in mind, the intention that I came up with is a safe return to meeting in person. How does that feel for you?
I think that's very appropriate for the what we are going through right now. It's totally appropriate, and I feel like everyone can relate to this.
And I tried to pick something that doesn't have any gotchas. I included safety in here, and that we're meeting in person. So I didn't wish for the pandemic to be over, because maybe that means that it takes over and everybody dies. Right?
Okay, yeah, because that was my first thought. Like, oh, let COVID be over.
Right, and there could be other ways of doing that, but I feel like this one really captures it, a safe return to meeting in person. So the way that this works is we are going to use all of the letters in this phrase only once, and we are going to use those to create a symbol that represents our intention. Now this is very free form. There are anybody, you can get 12 people to draw a sigil based on this phrase, and they would all come out differently. Everybody has their own style, everybody has their own ways of how they want to work with the letters. There are really no rules. You do want to try and connect things together, but as you saw in some of the other sigils that went through on the slides, they don't all have to be connected together. It's very free form. In general, this is usually going to be placed within a circle. So you want to keep that in mind in your design. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin. We don't have to do the letters in order. So I'll let you pick the letter that we're going to start with here.
How about we start with M?
M as in Mike, or N as in Nancy?
Mike.
Mike. So we're going to cross out every occurrence of the letter M. And I like to use this calligraphy style piece, because it does some neat things with curves here. So let me make a nice big version of that pen. Now you can certainly do this by hand. Nothing wrong with that at all. I am doing it on the computer, so it's easier for us to see, and also it'll be easy for me to capture. So we're going to start with the M, and I'm going to make an M that is a little fancy there. It's got some curviness to it. And you cross out every instance of the letter. So which letter shall we use next?
How about
R. R. Pirates. What's a pirate's favorite kind of movie? Those that are rated R. And I'm just going to take this part of the M and I'm going to turn it into the R by just adding the little swoop here. So we'll, whoops, do that again. Just get that.
a little difficult to
Yeah. Okay. So now it's okay for you to combine letters and combine symbols, to use part of a symbol to make another one. So I'm gonna do a couple here. I'm gonna use the I, and I'm going to create a little piece coming down like this. And let me make a nice wide base there. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and do the T's as well, because I'm going to do something interesting here. I'm going to actually put the T right in the middle of our I. I think that's an interesting looking symbol. So which one shall we do next?
How about we go with S?
S. S's are fun. You can do all kinds of things with the S. And you can make letters backwards when you do this, which is fun. Let's just put that right up there. It looks kind of like someone flapping in the wind there. Which letter do you like next?
How about P?
The P. All right.
Like I'm on you like after.
Yeah. So I'm going to put the P right down here, very subtly, as part of the I. I think that's an interesting look. What shall we do next?
A.
A. All right. We've got just the one A, and I'm going to make it upside down. And I'm going to make it kind of like an anarchy A here.
Interesting.
That just feels right to me. What should we do next?
I think we have E left and N, just those two.
E, O, and N.
EON. Okay. So let's go with O.
All right, and I'm going to put the O here. It kind of balances out that other symbol and provides some symmetry, but they're different. And we've got the E and the F. So I tell you what, I'm going to put my F here. I'm going to put my E here. That looks kind of like Hebrew, doesn't it? And we've got a U, and I'm gonna put that U right off the end of there, kind of like a little tail. That's something that I like to do. I'll do that a lot when I make these. And we've got the N here. So let's put the N here. And then the only thing left is that G. And so let's put that here. Actually, I don't like the way that looks. Let me redraw that. So again, it kind of reflects what we've done with the U, but it's got a different little tag on it. So there we go. There is our symbol. And that symbol looks odd. I'm going to go ahead and combine these into a single unit here so that I can scale it easily. And then maybe we go ahead and make it more like an official pantacle. Let me put a circle around it. I'm looking around my camera here while I do this. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. All right, so we're going to draw our circle here, but we're going to get rid of the inside here, and we're going to thicken up that outside. And then move this right into the center of it. We can decide whether we want it touching or if we just want it kind of floating free. Maybe scale it down just a touch. And there we are. There is my sigil representing the phrase a safe return to meeting in person. Now, I could draw this. And notice that if you decide you want to draw it, you might approach that differently from here than the way that we designed it.
Yes, I was trying to draw as you were teaching, but the mine does not look nice.
Well, that's all right, and it's okay to have your own style. Some people make it very angular, very precise. After doing these for a while, and after studying a lot of different versions of how sigils have been done historically, I incorporate aspects of that style, the way some of the lines come together, and the little things that offshoot here, particularly things like these little bits at the end is something that I've seen on a lot of different historic sigils. And they incorporated a lot of Hebrew letters and things like that. So anytime I can do something that feels a little bit like that, that helps it feel more magical to me. So
Yes, it does.
what I encourage you to do, and what I encourage everybody to do, is to take this phrase, a safe return to meeting in person, and using those letters one at a time in any order that you want. You can go straight down the line, nothing wrong with that. Or you can use this, randomize it the way that we did. Go with what letters feel good. And make your own sigil. Do it a few times and see which one you like. Once you got it the way the design, tweak it a little bit. Play with sizes of things, with styles of things. Now, I know that I asked you if you were going to play with this when we were preparing for this. Did you make a sigil?
I did, but mine was, I don't know if you can see it. It's this is what I was I came up with to safe return in person. Um, but I mean, the way you made it just now, it looks really good. I just use the letters as is, but I can see if I have some more fun with this, then it would turn into an actual symbol. It doesn't look like an actual symbol right now.
Well, it does on some levels. I like the triangle. Is that big triangle your letter A?
Yes.
and it looks like you're playing a little bit, combining some of the letters in ways to turn them into unusual symbols. So I have seen historic sigils that have that style of angular pieces there. And if you just do a search on Google for sigils, you'll see all different approaches. So once you have your sigil, you can just hang that up where you can look at it, and that will remind you about the intention that you were trying to bring forward. But if you want to go a little further with it, there are rituals that you can do to empower it. You can take, you can make a copy of it, and you can state that as your intention, and burn that as you send that wish out into the universe. And then keep another copy that you keep on you, keep where you can see it from time to time to remind you of that wish that is running. The thing that I really like about a sigil is that it keeps your intention somewhat secret. It works because you're thinking about it and giving it power. But let's say that the intention you're trying to bring about is I want to find a better place to work. Okay. Having that sign, a sign that says that sitting on your desk at work may not be that may not work the way you want it to. Your colleagues may go, "Oh, really?" And decide that you're not really trustworthy anymore. But if you turn it into a symbol and maybe decorate it up, put some other stuff around it. I like to put some sort of a phrase on it that people can read that has nothing to do with the intention. Some kind of hang in there sort of thing that people can look at and they'll completely ignore the symbol. And that intention works for you, but no one else knows what's going on. So it has some secrecy there, which is
But if you put a phrase in there which has nothing to do, subconsciously even you are looking at it.
well, you don't want it to make it contrary. Right? So I wouldn't put a phrase that was the opposite of that, because that would fuse the two of them. But if you had a phrase that was like "Have a nice day," that was pretty much for anything, then that puts you in a really good position to have that other intention. It's not going to mess with you, but the real intention underneath there happens in secret. And personally, the way I do things, I think it is so much fun to have an intention right in front of people, and they have no idea what they're looking at. Especially people that get, some people get unpleasant about this kind of stuff. And being able to have that kind of thing secretly right in front of them amuses me quite a bit.
This was so much fun. Thank you for teaching this. And I had no idea that you can make your own. I thought these were just the historic symbols that some people made, and I had no idea that you can personalize it and everyone can make their own.
Well, that's the whole point of magic. You're supposed to make it your own.
Well,
So
thank you
next
so
we're going to do some trick or treating.
Yes, now it's time for us to go trick and treat.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
Are you coming with us?
Can I?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, let's go trick or treating then.
Let's go.
everybody. Happy Halloween. Happy Day of the Dead. Hope everybody has a great Halloween and a great Day of the Dead. My name is Charles with Charles Santor Photography. I'm a fine art photographer here in Austin, Texas. I just wanted to come on real quick to wish everybody a happy Halloween, Day of the Dead, and to share with you guys a few images that I have that are Halloween and Day of the Dead themed. I don't have 3 of the 4 I'm going to show you. I don't actually have as a physical print on a substrate. So I'm going to show you on my computer screen, and then I'm going to pick up another one and share it with you guys, the one that I actually physically have right here. So let me go to the first one. And the first image here is a print that I call French Quarter Couple. And this was shot in, it was a store window in the French Quarter in New Orleans. And I just loved how they were positioned in the window and their garb and the masks. And so yeah, they're just kind of a spooky French Quarter couple print here. And the way I processed it in black and white with a tint of green to give it that spooky look. So that's the first one. And then the next one is an image that I shot in Petaluma, California, Day of the Dead themed, and this one is called Handsome Man. And I brought out the kind of the Day of the Dead colors in this one with the red and the yellow, and really warmed up the image. So this is a real fun print. And then the next print I have, I call this one the Mardi Gras Gaze. This was shot in New Orleans. And yeah, you can see he's wearing the Mardi Gras beads around his neck, and just a really cool skeleton. I love the way he really stares at you from this print. And then the last one that I want to share with you guys is sort of a spooky kind of lane in Paris that takes you to Sacre-Cœur Cathedral, the Roman Catholic Cathedral, which is right up here. You can see the cupola of the cathedral. This is a really cool lane, and so this one I actually do have printed. It's on a canvas print. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. This is a 24 by 36. It's printed on canvas. The camera isn't doing it justice, but yeah, so the 24 by 36 canvas gallery wrap, and this is the back of the print, and it comes ready to hang. So this is a kind of a very spooky lane, a very popular print. But I just wanted to share with you guys some of the prints that I have that are, Halloween, Day of the Dead themed, and hope you guys thought that was fun, and I hope you guys have a great holiday. Take care. Bye, everybody.
My name's Lyle Adair, and this is my studio, and happy Halloween. I wanted to tell you about a couple pieces today. The one older piece and one newer piece that I have that have a somewhat of a Halloween theme. They both represent dream imagery. I do copper sculpture, and I use an oxygen acetylene torch and copper sheet, as well as wire, pipes and other copper objects. So the first one I have is this, which is entitled Circle of Life, and the idea behind it is death floating up a river towards a woman on a hillside looking over her shoulder. Her dress becomes the waterfall as death goes to meet her. So it's kind of the idea of the water in the form representing birth, with death coming up to meet her as she ages and glances over her shoulder to reflect on the life she's lived and left behind. So this one I did several years ago, and the next one I have is one I just completed this past year. The title of this piece is Wisp Away, and it is a raven, the profile of a raven with a woman walking through a wheat field into the raven. And it's called Wisp Away because a meaning of wisp is, or wisp is representative of a wheat field as well as a frail person, especially a young woman. And so I decided to do this as kind of a dream metaphor of someone lost in their thoughts as they journey the countryside. And it shows her back as she walks away towards whatever her unknown future is, with the raven representing a source of calling or good luck. Thanks for visiting my studio today. It was good speaking with you, and I look forward to seeing you out and about in the art world.
Hey everybody, happy Halloween and happy painting.
Leslie Cal here. Please enjoy this short cinematograph I put together to get you in a spooky mood.
So that was our show for tonight. I hope you had a lot of fun with us. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. I wish you a very happy Halloween and Day of the Dead. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more art and fun stories. Until then, stay safe.